Welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Great to see so many of you coming on in. Good day, everyone. Great to see all of you coming on in. We will wait until most of you get into the room. I still see the number ticking up, which is a good thing. Glad to have so many of you here today. Okay, I'll get started now. As I said, welcome, and I mean that, welcome. New APAP friends, longtime APAP family. So much has changed. It's good that you're all here, though. It's been nearly 3 years since we last met in New York City. Can you believe it? And let me make one thing very clear. We are returning in person January 13th through the 17th, 2023, and I can't wait to see you. You've heard me and many on our APAP team say it before. This year's conference and the process leading up to the finish line will look different. We've learned so many lessons since March 2020, and we are moving forward. But I do want to back up just a bit. I can only imagine that the act of preparing to attend conference forces many of you into a routine of past practice. And when we keep saying it's going to look different, you're probably wondering, well, how do you square that? Rest assured, we're going to talk through this today. And as we endure this ramp up, it's hardly the same. And with that said, peppered throughout this presentation will be important changes that you'll need to pay close attention to. We at APAP are doing our very best, and I thank the staff for everything they've done to hold your hands and guide you through all of this, and that's the goal of today. Before we begin, my colleagues will walk you through the agenda for today's how-to webinar on exhibiting, showcasing, and networking at APAP, because we know how important these relationships and coming together as a field are to you, especially now. Neo?
Thank you, Lisa. And next slide, Annie, please. So I actually see a question I want to answer live before we get started. So we are in a webinar format today. You will be with us in the chat. You can ask questions. Please see in the chat, and we'll pop that in again, APAP stat rules to answering questions. So we'll have more on Q&A at the end of our webinar. Today, we're going to start with a discussion of conference networking and go into swap card engagement, which is our virtual engagement platform for the conference. And we'll follow by that with a conversation about showcasing some of the technical pieces of how to create showcase listings and what it means to showcase in person at the conference. Next, we will have a discussion about the Expo Commons and the technical elements of creating listings in the swap card platform and how to register to purchase a booth, and some details and changes that we have in the Expo Hall. We'll then talk a bit about the schedule for the Expo Hall, the booth sales, floor plan, and the exhibitor kit. And I mentioned booth purchasing. And before we end today, we'll touch on Q&A. So we will have an opportunity to take questions from the floor at the end of our session. And I'm going to turn things over to my colleague, Krista Bradley, to chat a bit about networking.
Thanks, Neo. Hi, everybody. I'm going to keep my bit short because I know we have a lot to get through, but I just wanted to reiterate and underscore the opportunities that you'll have to network with new colleagues and new people that you might not know yet. And we have set up a number of ways to do that, both leading up to conference and at conference. I'm just going to briefly touch on a few things. Next month, it's actually starting this month, we'll have a series of networking Tuesdays that will give you an opportunity to meet your colleagues, your presenting colleagues, new people in programming positions. The next one is October 25th, which we have a youth and family networking event. If you have anything to do with youth and family programming, we hope that you will go to that. And meet a lot of your colleagues and peers. We'll also have another event next month for people that are new to conference, new in their positions, and we encourage you to come to that. It'll be a low key but exciting and fun event to discover some new colleagues before we actually start making all of your appointments and seeing them in January. Leading up to January, and leading up to the conference, we'll have a number of different ways to connect. We'll have affinity groups. We'll also have forums that will start on Friday of the conference. We encourage you to make space for that. We'll have a youth and family forum. We'll have a small and mid-sized presenter forum. We'll have people that are interested in different kinds of work forums. So these are opportunities for you to connect with people that you might not have already made a connection to or an appointment with. And then while we're at conference, we'll have both spaces outside of the expo hall for you to network with folks, both a networking lounge and opportunities to connect with people inside the expo hall, where we'll be animating certain elements of the expo hall to get people to have conversations together. And we'll have other forums as well. In addition to that, we'll also have a new colleagues opportunity. So that's what I wanted to share with you all. And I would encourage you to come to the events leading up to conference that allow you to interact with folks. And I'd also encourage you to make use of Swap Card. You'll hear more about that in a bit. But Swap Card's a great way to identify people that have like-minded interests with your roster, to reach out to them before conference. It's a great platform to be able to do some reconnaissance, but also some initial conversation. So that's it in terms of networking, lots of opportunities, and we're looking forward to seeing you at many of those. I'll turn it back to Neo.
Thanks so much for that, Krista. Thank you, Annie. Moving to our next slide. So we're going to go into the showcase section of our webinar today. Starting on October 27th, you'll be able to build your showcase listings. We'll be using the Timely calendar, which if you participated in our virtual event last January, we used the Timely calendar, and we'll be using that again. In a moment, we'll have a demo on how to create those listings. You do need to purchase your showcase listings and pay for them via the conference registration portal before you'll have access to creating a showcase listing via the Timely calendar. Next slide, please. And just a reminder, showcase listings are $10 per listing. And you can create listings for in-person showcases, pre-recorded showcases, or live stream showcase listings. Conference registration is required to purchase a listing. And in addition to those listings, we are allowing you will have online access via the Swap Card platform. So you can create listings if you're participating virtually, or you'll be with us in person. And I'm going to pause. Next, we're going to have a demo of how to create a showcase listing. And please bear with as we transition to our next media form.
Thank you for attending this webinar.
I'm JG Decker, the Senior Associate for Resources and Events here at APAP, and I will walk you through setting up your showcase listing. As a reminder, showcase listings are just $10. In order to have a showcase listing, you must be an APAP member, be registered for the conference as well. Once you do so, a link will be sent to you to build your showcase. If this is your first time with us, welcome. If you were with us last year, this may be familiar to you. The first thing you will do is sign in. If you already have a login with us, you'll just log in with that same information. If you're new, you'll just need to sign up. Once you've either logged in or signed up, you'll go over to the left-hand side and add an event. Here, you will begin filling out your information for your specific showcase. As a reminder, we will be operating in Eastern Standard Time for the time zone. For me, I'm going to have my event, my showcase, happening on Sunday the 15th at 6:30 p.m. and lasting until 6:50 p.m. There are several required fields down here, for instance, category and tags. For tags, you have 4 different options: dance, music, other live performance, and theater. For me, I'm going to choose other live performance. You can also add another category if you wish, but for me, I'm going to stick with just one. You can also add a tag. You can add multiple tags. They are in-person, live stream, new work, and online. Mine is going to be in-person as well as live streamed. Next, you'll add a venue. If you do not see your venue listed below, then you can add a new one, which could be a physical, online, or physical and online space. For me, I'm going to choose one that I've already created, which is Sutton Hall at the Hilton Midtown. Next, you'll add an event organizer. This will be your organization name. You'll need to add the email, phone, website URL, and website title, as along with an image if you choose to do so. For me, I'm going to choose one that I've already created, which is JG Decker Productions. Next, you can add your artist fees. These are merely suggestions and do not guarantee your actual range, but merely an idea of what those fees are. For me, I'm going to choose between $5,000 and $10,000. You can add multiple fees. For dance, music, theater, and other live performance, these are additional tags that you can add to describe your performance. These are not required, but suggested. So for instance, if you're a bachata, bluegrass, comedy, circus show, then you have all the options for you. You can choose as many as you'd like or as few as you like. For me, I'm just going to focus on circus. Next, you can also add reservations required or tickets required. For me, I'm going to add reservations required, and I'll add a note below. Next, I'll add my artist group or group name. This is going to be your act's name. For me, it's going to be JG Decker & Co. This could be your band's name, or if you're partnering with someone else, you can also name it, such as JG Decker and Neo Nanor Madison & Co. Whatever you choose. Next, you'll add your online showcasing link. For me, I'll add my live streaming link, which is really just the link to Elephant Love Medley from Moulin Rouge. If you know, you know. Next, you can add your Expo Hall space. It's okay if you don't have one. You don't have to add it. It's a totally optional field. For me, I have one, so I will list it here. And then I can add special instructions here. For me, my special instructions are please reserve by emailing jdecker@apap365.org and to please enter Sutton by coming in through the back. As a reminder, you can come back to edit your event at any point. However, you will need to contact timely customer service. We will provide this link for you for when we open. Additionally, your event will be seen throughout the month of January. and you can go back and watch previous online showcases or live recordings as you wish. You will be required to upload an image. For me, I'm going to add my headshot because it's pretty darn cool. Next, you'll need to add a description. This can be as long or as short as you wish. And then you will have to agree to our disclaimer. It may take up to 5 business days or more for your submission to be approved. If your submission is rejected, you will receive an email from us with details on why and how to improve. Showcase information will only be shared with conference attendees, so do be sure to register. Next, we will submit our event. Now, I've already created this event and approved it, so I'll show you what it looks like. As a reminder, APAP will provide all the links, including how to get in touch with timely customer service should you need to edit. Thank you so much for attending this webinar.
Thank you for that, JG. Before I move on, we will have a deeper Q&A at the end of this session, but I saw a question in the chat I'd like to address. With the swap card showcase listings, you will be able to, as part of your listing, ask for RSVPs, and that's how you'll be able to track who attends your showcase or who signs up for your showcase. We'll also have analytics available via swap card. But the main thing you want to do is create the RSVP option so you can find out who is registering to attend your showcase. Wanted to note that showcases happen throughout New York City. If you're interested in locations where you can create a showcase, please reach out to us at APAP and we'll drop our contact information in the chat. We have a listing. New venues are always popping up, but we have some where we can point you in the right direction if you're looking for a venue. If you are interested in showcasing in the Hilton, please reach out to our offices. If I've not talked to you, I'm happy to reach out to you to tell you what's available. I can share that just as of yesterday, we were assigned our Hilton Showcase Liaison, so we can move forward on organizing the pieces that happened inside the Hilton. If you've been in touch with me regarding your showcase at the Hilton, please look to receive more information from me later today. And I think we can go back to the slide presentation, Annie. Thank you. And now the Expo Commons. As a reminder, exhibit spaces are $77.95 per space. Each organization is permitted up to 2 spaces. This year, again, while we'll be in person, with the purchase of your in-person exhibit space, you will have access to the virtual landing page in Swap Card. New this year, if you've participated with us in the last year and you already created a virtual profile in Swap Card, the information on your exhibit page will transfer to the conference data for this year. Booth badges are $2.95, and you can purchase 3 booth badges per booth. And again, each company can purchase 2 booths. If you are registering multiple members from your company, you do have a limit on the number of booth badges you can purchase. However, you can purchase additional registrations at $7.95 per registration. And the Expo Hall will be open on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday during the conference. The hours have been extended. We're going to have a bit more than 4 hours per day. We've added some additional hours, accessible hours, and what that means for APAP are times when you don't have to man your booth, but the Expo Hall will be open. And we'll pop into the chat a link to our schedule at a glance, which shares the detailed hours that will be available for Expo Hall during the conference. And I'm going to take a pause, and we're going to go to our next demo about how to engage and create your Expo landing page on SwapCard.
Hello and welcome to an upcoming preview of the APAP NYC event. Shortly, you will be invited to the event platform and mobile device for the upcoming experience. Be sure before arriving on site to download the APAP NYC app in either the Google Play Store or Apple iOS Store as well. Now, as you first arrive at the platform, one of the first things that you can do is click Edit in your own profile to upload your profile picture, as well as make sure all of your own bio and information is completely correct. This will really help drive that AI-based connection tool. Now, as you first start to explore the upcoming experience, one of the first things that you'll be sure to check out is all the amazing content that will be available to you. You can do this by clicking through the dates and times of those events, as well as potentially filtering by the different options to find exactly what you're looking for. Some other options would be to actually click into one of these sessions where you can learn more about the speakers, as well as those other registered attendees, or even further information and other sessions that you may like. During the session itself, this is how you're going to be able to visualize and watch it, as well as potentially chat, participate in questions and polls throughout the experience. A couple other key areas to take a look at are the different chat areas throughout the experience. You can go ahead to the different theme boards to engage with the other members, as well as see what the buzz is on the show floor. You can also be sure to check out the attendees tab, where you can start to find those individuals who are participating in the event and create connections with them. You can filter them or search directly, as well as look at the AI-based tool, which lets you know the reason why they're recommending these individuals. And potentially, if there's someone who is not appropriate for a recommendation, you can exit them by clicking this button here. Once you find someone that you are interested maybe in connecting with, in this case, I click into Neo's profile, I can either learn a little bit more about Neo and see why Neo was recommended to myself. And then I can either write a connection request to let them know why I would be interested in connecting, or potentially find a meeting slot during a mutually available time to meet with them physically on site. Now, once that is connected, you will then have the ability to add additional notes about your connections, as well as chat with them directly one-to-one. You also have these areas here with all of your chats in one location to continue the collaboration, as well as the option to create even group chats among those that are attending the event that you're connected with. Don't forget to check out all the notifications that will be coming through the experience as well. So beyond all of the different attendees, checking out the speakers, the different types of conversations that are going on, if you ever have any questions during the experience, be sure to check out the help desk for any additional type of information, as well as the ability to chat with someone to help you directly. Beyond these different experiences, one of the other key things with the upcoming event is checking out the exhibitors area. Just like the attendees, you have the ability to filter and find those different sponsors and brands that are participating in this upcoming experience, as well as the ability to chat with them directly, learn more about their products and services, as well as schedule meetings with them. We are wishing you the best of luck at the upcoming APAP NYC event.
Thank you. And now we're going to have another video, great, by my colleague, Mary Jane, who is on the line. And JG, can you please ensure Mary Jane has access to share her screen?
Thanks, everyone. Neo, can you confirm for me that you can see the event?
I can see your screen. Thank you.
Thank you. Great. So now that you've seen how to navigate through SwapCard, what we can show you here is that if you are a member of a page, how you can go to edit that booth and that landing page. So like we showed before, here's where the Expo Commons is. This is where you'll find all of the different booths. You can start to see logos and click in to see their information. You can also search for specific participants if you'd like. Now, when you are a member, you'll see of a booth, you'll see this here, and it'll be related to your specific company or booth. And that's one way to get to editing that booth's page. The other way to get there is by dropping down here and seeing your exhibitor center. When we click here, you can see that now we're brought to the back end of this booth. We can see that the video is trying to load. We can see that we have a logo here and all of the different pieces of information. Now, as you go through, you can choose to edit that. If you have a header image and you do have the option for a header video as well, please note that the header video will take place over that header image. So it's one or the other in this location. Then you have your logo and the name, and you can scroll through here to edit more information. So here you have your info, your social media links that you can place, any contact details. And remember, this is contact details for your exhibitor booth. So you want this to be more general and not as specific to one individual, as all of your team members will also be listed on your booth. Then we can come to this side and see documents and links. So here you can provide links to different PDFs, URLs, and allow people to download any content. Here you have artist rosters and services, so you're able to add different items defined by the APAP NYC group, and this is where you'll do so. Here for meetings, so as you have individual meetings that you can your exhibitor booth, what you'll see here is any upcoming, past, or future meetings. And then here's the availability. So when you come here, you'll control what time slots are available on your exhibitor booth. You can control if you want these times to be not available, and that way nobody has the option to reach out to the booth at that time and not get a response. Then here you'll have some brief leads. This will be, people who visited your virtual booth, people who downloaded any documents that you've had, people who've watched sessions that your booth may be attached to, and then any contacts. And this is shared contacts between you and the team members of this booth. And then once you're a team member, you have the option to see all of the additional team members that are listed as well. When you have a booth, as you can see here, you can go into different booths and there may be an option to chat with them. So this is a separate place from your individual chat box. And the way you monitor that is up here. So whenever you have messages to either yourself or the booth you're a part of, you'll see a notification here. In clicking on that, you'll see right now I'm under the account, this general individual account as the APAP admin. However, if I want to communicate with people via my help desk, I can click here and I would see all of the people that reached out to the help desk there. So again, any notifications that you have will come through as it is here under the original notifications. Here's your message notifications, and then you can navigate back to your event. Please let us know if you have any questions.
Thank you so much for that, MJ. And now can we go back to our slides? Annie, thank you. We'll have more time for Q&A in a moment. And I just wanted to revisit our booth badge. And as noted a bit, things are different as we return to in-person convening. So each booth space in the Expo Commons is an 8 by 10 size. Each booth space is $795. You must register for the conference at the conference registry. The early bird registration rate is $695 per person. So once you've registered and you purchase your booth, you can then purchase 3 booth badges. If your organization purchases 2 booths, you can purchase 7 booth badges at the $295 rate. I believe one of the questions in the chat was if you have additional attendees beyond the number of booth badges that are permitted, they would be registered at the conference rate under your organization. They can be linked to your booth, but it would be at the conference rate. And again, the early bird rate is $695. Next slide, please, Annie. So this is an image. This will be available on the registration portal for the Expo Purchase Path. And again, this has been emailed to all potential exhibitors. The floor plan for the Rhinelander will look a bit different this year. What's unique is that there is seating for 170 attendees, I believe. This will be an additional networking space that will be available during the conference within the Expo Hall. But generally, the floor plan is the same, but we've taken out some booths and added additional networking space within the Rhinelander. Next slide, please, Annie. And this is America's Hall 1. Again, this is a small image, but this can be found on the Expo registration path and again, emailed to all exhibitors. The change here is the size of the booths. They're all 8 by 10 on this floor. We will have pipe and drape on the floor. And if you can go to the next slide, Annie. America's Hall 2 will also have a similar setup in years past, the difference being the size of the booth. And I will stop there. And before we go to Q&A, I'm going to turn things over to our president and CEO, Lisa.
Thank you, Neo. Thank you, everybody. Well, there's a lot here. I hope this has been informative. And we're still on the line to talk things through and to answer any questions and so forth. So I just want to say, as I'm looking at this, this will be my first time attending APAP and I'm overwhelmed. I can only imagine how some of you may feel, especially when you look at what has changed. It can feel scary, it can feel very risky, and we've been through so much of that. We have endured it and we keep enduring it, all of us. And now that we're going back to the place that represents so much of the good thing about what connects us all, that's the APAP, and that this organization and the services that we provide for the field to do business, that's the live and in-person conference at the Hilton. It's hard to imagine how we might manage some of this change, especially as the place seems like it's the same place, right? But the place is the same. But some of the things about the place and the environment, how it's operating, how it's ramping up after being closed for a very long time, are all different and they've changed. So let's talk about one obvious change, if we can. Timeliness. I've heard from many of you, up until the pandemic, APAP and many of your businesses ran like clockwork, meaning some things like your APAP conference experience, they're pro forma, standardized to a degree. And for some of you, the formula for how well you would do at APAP, business-wise, was also something you could predict. And as we come up on 3 years of this pandemic, like clockwork, predictable, they've been removed from our vocabulary. Now, don't get me wrong, the clock is still ticking, but it's slower. It's slower, it's moving forward, but it's a little slower than any of us are used to. As an example, just yesterday, as Neo told you, we just got our conference point of contact from the Hilton, so we can finally move forward on showcasing at the Hilton, just yesterday. That means that we can move forward, solidifying those very important details so that we can have that part of the conference experience ready. Our negotiations with the Hilton have been long, necessary, but long, and not without pain points. The reality is that this whole thing called coming back from the pandemic has slowed things. And for the Hilton, it's a ripple effect. It's a ripple effect on us at APAP and then what we're able to provide to you. But the silver lining is that we're moving forward. We will be there, and we look forward to seeing all of you. I do ask continually, and I've asked this before, and I hope you will abide. I ask for your grace as you work with us, as we work with you, so that we can continue to provide you with what we need, put the necessary pressure on our hotel partner to get anything that's outstanding, to ensure that your business is moving forward. It's what we all want. And for some of the changes, we know the solutions. For others, we're still working out the kinks. Where we will keep striving to meet you is in our promise to keep you in the loop as things that you're awaiting, when we know it, we'll let you know. And what we'll continue to work to do better at is letting you know when we think you'll know, right? They call it managing expectations. So thank you for staying with us. I think we're going to have a wonderful time together. Different or not, it's going to be amazing. It'll be so amazing for me to finally meet you in person, to shake your hand, to give you a hug, whatever you're comfortable with. Before I turn it back over to Neo, I would like to give Crandall Rogers, one of our conference co-chairs, an opportunity to say a few words. Crandall?
Thank you, Lisa, and hi to everybody that's on today. Can you guys hear me? Yep, okay, good. I just wanted to say a couple of things quickly. First off, I know that a lot of stuff has been really frustrating for a lot of people, but I really want to give a shout out to APAP, particularly Neo and JG, and the people that have been in the trenches dealing with the Hilton. I have been doing this for 24 years, doing showcases at conferences and renting hotel space. And I have never, ever in 24 years been through the kind of hell that I have been through so far this year, dealing with my own hotel stuff for some of the other conferences. It is so multifaceted and so multi-pieced. And if you have never done the process of trying to negotiate with a hotel, I know it's really hard for people to understand that it might just be that we could, the conference committee, Neo, whoever, we could be waiting 3, 4, 5 months for an answer from a hotel. But what I've used as an example for everybody is I'm 4.5 weeks out of a completed conference. I'm still not done with the negotiations with that hotel for an event that has been over for almost 5 weeks. And so I know it's been super hard for APAP to be able to get us all back some semblance of normality and what we've had in the past. And I know that they have worked super hard, and I know that the whole conference committee has worked really hard to try to give our input and try to represent all of you out there and what you're asking for and what you're wanting and what's going to help you to get back to business and back to normal. I think everybody on the conference committee and everybody at APAP, we're just so thrilled that there's going to be an in-person APAP, that all of you are coming. And as all those little things drive us nuts, which they will between now and then, and a lot of people, you know, some people don't like the virtual platform. Some people don't like the way the listings work. Some people don't like how the booths are going this year. There's going to be something all of us are not going to like. I think we just have to focus on the fact that even with all the stuff we don't like, we've got it back. We've got the opportunity to be back, to be together, to look at how we're going to be going forward in the next 2-3 seasons together instead of separately in little boxes on our computers. And just the energy and what we can get from each other and being together, I think, is going to carry us through a lot of those annoyances. I know that I think I can speak for the whole conference committee and just saying, we really hope that everybody that's thinking about coming will. We really hope that you come with great ideas and great creativity. And we hope that you come with positive energy. And we know some people are going to come with a little fear about COVID. We know some people are going to come with a little disappointment maybe about what booth they got, but whatever the baggage we all bring in is, we just need to try to focus on the miracle of being back together and being able to get some kind of normalcy, and the positive stuff. And I think that that's going to carry us all through the little annoyances. So that's, and then the other thing I just wanted to say was, I know that a lot of people have been wondering about showcasing. There is showcasing stuff happening. I think people will be giving more information out about that. Showcasing an APAP is a great opportunity. Exhibiting at APAP is a great opportunity. Even if you're new and you're just thinking, do I want to come to APAP? Is APAP for me? Even just registering and coming to the conference to see what it's about, to get the feel and to get the vibe, and doing that maybe for a year before you dive all the way in. There's so much that can be gotten from this, from all of us. And if you're new, we welcome you. And everybody in the world has my email address and phone number, and you can get it from a whole lot of people. Anybody that have APAP questions, I'm also on the NAPAMA board, and I'm the conference liaison for NAPAMA. So if you got APAP questions, if you don't want to bother APAP, or you just want somebody who's been at the conference to talk to or say, what's it like? Anybody can call me or email me anytime. And that's the same for a lot of people on the conference committee. They're willing to talk and just give you a little insight into what their APAP experience is like. So that was all I kind of wanted to say. Just thank you. From my point of view as a showcase producer, thank you, Neo. Thank you, JG. Thank you, Lisa, Krista. Thank you guys for hanging in. Everybody at APAP, I know it's been awful. Thank you for hanging in and keeping fighting for all of us and getting us back what we used to have, most of what we used to have. And thank you for having this and letting us be back together again in January. I personally can't wait.
Thank you, Crandall, and thank you for so much time that you put in helping us. Helping all of us. We help each other. It's the law of things. It's really appreciated. And all of our conference co-chairs and our entire conference committee. We have a large committee, as we did last year. We think it's important to have as much representation from all the diverse pockets of the types of members we have. And we are moving forward. So we appreciate you being here. And we have Q&A, I believe. Nia?
Thank you, Crandall. Thank you, Lisa. And we have Q&A. Thank you, everyone, for your questions. I'm going to go down the list, and I will call on my colleagues at points to assist as needed. So let's see. We want to start with Celeste, and you wanted to ask, are you understanding correctly? There is no exhibiting on Friday. Friday is purely a setup day for your booth. Conference registration will be open on Friday. We will have conference activities on Friday, but that is just that's the load-in day for the expo hall. And more details about that will be available on October 27th. Once you have become a confirmed exhibitor, on October 20, on the 27th, you'll receive the exhibitor kit from GES, which is our show decorator partner, and it'll provide more information on the load-in schedule at that time. Okay. And regarding assigning the individual booth badges, once you've registered, we are working through the confirmation process of booths currently. You'll receive a confirmation email for your expo space purchase. And in that email, you'll have instructions and a code to use for your colleagues that will be registering under the booth badge code. So in that email, you'll have instructions. And I will take a moment to say, if you've purchased a booth through yesterday, if you've not been in touch with me, if I haven't reached out to you directly, one of the spaces you requested was confirmed. We did have a glitch in the email that was going, so that auto-generated message will be coming, which will say your booth number along with your code to use for any booth badges you purchase. Please look to receive that very soon. But if you purchased a booth space between the 13th and yesterday, one of the space numbers you requested was confirmed. Okay. Can our two booths be combined into one big booth with the center removed? At this point, our plan is to have the same booth size for all of them. That is a great question and one we can explore with our show decorator. So please look to receive an answer when we have our exhibit kit. But as it stands now, even if your booths were side by side, you would still have that 3-foot middle partition, but we can find out more about that. And that will be provided in the Expo kit. Let's see. So Marion's question is, if I have a student registrant with me, can he assist me at the booth or do I have to buy a booth badge? If it's a student and they've registered as a student, that's permitted because they would be listed then as a student and not be listed under your booth. But if this person is someone you mentor or you're working with and assisting you in your booth, that's permitted, but they would be listed as a student and not listed as booth staff under your listing. Let's see, I've just lost my question, sorry. I think it was, can you buy a booth badge if you don't have a booth just to enter and look around and network? Okay. That is not an option available. Our entry points this year would be the full registration, which again is the early bird time now at $6.95. We also have a virtual access option. We have student rates, and there will be options to participate in some of the networking that happens before the official start of the conference, but that would not allow you access to the expo hall or to the sessions. That would just allow you to participate in the forums and affinity group meetings that would happen prior to the start of the conference on Friday. Let's see, booth badge holders do not need to be registered, correct? So not quite. A booth badge for our purposes is considered a full registration. You would receive a code and you would be registered, and that booth badge does allow you access to the full suite of conference activities in addition to the swap card virtual platform. So let's see, next question from Manuel was, in addition to buying a booth badge, each person in the booth must also register for the conference, or one registration for the agency, one booth, and then just the booth badges for up to 3 booth personnel. No. So you will purchase the booth badges at the $295 rate, and then you're going to receive a code so that they can register. So they're not paying the conference rate, they're paying with the booth badge rate, but we're asking everyone to register because we need to track all attendees, and your booth badge registrants need to register in order to access the virtual platform as well, which will help with wayfinding at the conference. That is where our schedule will be. And also Expo Hall interactive maps will also be on the app, which is SwapCard. So you will need to register. Let's see, I have an anonymous question. Are showcase venues booked directly with the venues or through APAP? Showcase venues are booked directly with the venues. APAP does not produce showcases, so these are all considered independent showcases. We can help providing a list of venues that may be available, but APAP does not book showcases. From Karen. Is there any exhibit space without pipe and drape? Not this year. What we do have is the Rhinelander. It looks a bit different and it has an open area for networking, but we will have pipe and drape on all 3 floors of the expo hall. Okay, next question from Brendan. About the swap card tool. Do all registered organizations with APAP have access to use swap card? So at the moment, you need to be registered for the conference to access swap card. But in the future, that is something that we are moving to. But for the purposes of the conference, you need to be a member and registered for the conference, and then you would have access to swap card. Okay, let's see. Julissa, I believe. Are the rates different for those who are renewing their membership, even if they haven't been renewed in more than a year? I believe you're talking about the conference rates. The conference registration rates are what are published. We do have scholarship options, and there's a discount for new members. If you're talking about renewing membership rates, our membership team can answer additional questions. And Sue, are you with us at the moment? I'm sorry, I don't.
Yeah, I'm here. Anyone who has questions about specific categories and rates can reach out to me directly. I'm happy to put my email in the chat if that would be helpful.
Thank you, Sue. Okay, from Jerry, when will we receive our booth selection? And also, when I enter my confirmation code, it's not recognized. It says it's not recognized. Well, Jerry, I can confirm because I have been working with the team on seating. So if you purchased a booth, and I'm certain that you have thus far, you will receive a confirmation email, which will include your booth badge codes if you purchase those, and the booth space numbers. And as I mentioned earlier, if you purchased a booth between October 13th and yesterday, October 17th, if I did not personally reach out to you to ask you about your booth location, that means that one of the selections that you entered was accepted. So please look to receive that very soon from us. Okay, let's see this question. Can we talk about the networking lounge mentioned earlier outside of the exhibitor hall? Is that accessible to non-exhibitors? Yes. So the expo hall is open to all conference attendees. So that networking space is within the expo hall. So exhibitors and non-exhibiting attendees have access to this space, which means that after they tour the expo hall, they can connect in this networking space, and then the exhibitors can use this as well. Okay, and going back to when will the expo hall booth numbers be assigned? That is a rolling process. So if you have registered and you've purchased your booth, you will receive a confirmation shortly. Generally, it should be within 2 business days. Our system is up and working now. So once you go through the process, there's usually about 2 business days where the sales are open, and then the booths are confirmed, and then you will receive a confirmation email, which includes your booth number. For those waiting to hear back on conference scholarships before we register, when should we expect to hear back? Is there a downside to not being registered by now? First time prospective attending. Well, thank you for joining us. There is no downside at this point. Early bird registration ends on October 26th. You will receive notification of the scholarship before then, which would allow you to register and take advantage of the early bird registration if needed. So, I'm sorry, going back, an expo question. If I purchase one booth at $795 I will receive one booth badge at no additional cost, any more at $2.95. If you are a you have to register for the conference as an attendee before you can purchase a booth. So the person that's registered as your primary attendee does not need to purchase a booth badge. And yes, the next one would be at the $2.95 rate. Marion has a question. Let's see, I'm wondering about when I'm going to be given a chance to select an exhibit. Okay, so you must register for the conference in order to receive the information on how to purchase a booth. If you have registered and you selected your tier level and have not received an email, please reach out to the APAP team directly. And we will pop that email where you can reach out to us in the chat. Okay, yes, and if you're interested in purchasing or in showcasing at the Hilton, you can reach out to the APAP team and we can provide more information on the options. Okay, and Celeste, let's see, our exhibits only on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, no Friday. That is correct. Friday is a load-in day for the conference, so exhibits are Saturday and Sunday and Monday. And we will also pop a link in the chat to our schedule at a glance, which has more information on the true hours of exhibiting at the conference. Okay, Rebecca, we are a team of 4 who have all registered. If we buy a booth, do we also need booth badges? You do not need additional booth badges since you have all registered for the conference. Let's see, an anonymous question. Can you clarify who qualifies for student registration rates? Typically for us, a student would mean someone that's a full-time enrolled student at a college or university. And if you have additional questions on if you qualify, please reach out to the Red Conference team and we can talk about eligibility. Okay, I'm just going to read a comment. So now that we have a Hilton Showcase liaison, producers will soon have all the info we need to determine the feasibility and cost for showcasers to purchase showcase slots within the Hilton. And that means if you want to showcase in the Hilton, it is urgent that you let the producers know. Crandall is the best contact to register as a potential showcaser, and time is of the essence. Thank you for that comment, Mr. Mojo. Okay. Celeste, let's see. I want to do a showcase, but would not want to schedule this without an exhibit space. I am new, so at the bottom tier. What are my chances of getting a booth when I am so low on the totem pole? Can you predict? At this point, I think we are just under 50% full with booth spaces. We did open last Thursday, and by Monday of next week, we will have the ability open for everyone to purchase a booth. I think at this point, the chances are great for you to be able to get a booth in the expo hall. And Celeste, you can email me or the conference team if you have additional questions about options. Let's see the next question. Is there a way to know which exhibits are already taken prior to paying to select an exhibit? In other words, if by the time our turn comes up, there are not desirable spaces left, can we opt out of exhibiting and get our money back? Yes. So through the purchase process of the exhibit, you will see the layouts that were shared earlier today. And after you review the layouts, and you select the booth numbers, the locations you're interested in, you would go to the drop-down menu on the registration portal to select those numbers. If you don't see those booth space numbers, that means that they are not available, that they're no longer available. And at that point, you could cancel and you wouldn't need to go forward with the process. And at this point, refunds are an option should you choose to change your mind and you purchase an exhibit space and you choose not to exhibit, refunds are available at this time. The Disney Institute. Does being a plenary sponsor allow you a better spot in the expo hall? Sponsorship, there are many levels of sponsorship. At some sponsorship levels, it allows you access to choose an exhibit, a space in the expo hall where you may not have been available. But we can answer direct questions on what's available and the sponsorship levels if you're reaching out to the APAP team. And Disney, I believe we've been in touch, and so we can follow up on that conversation regarding options. Let's see, Christine. If on my roster, I'm representing an artist who is a DJ and wants to offer services to the conference organizers for an integrated event, who should I talk to? Oh, sure, you can reach out to APAP NYC at apap365.org, and we can point you in the direction of the appropriate person to talk to about contract positions with the conference. Okay, let's see. How much is staff registration for use of swap card if the organization is already registered? If you are registered for the in-person conference, access to swap card is complimentary. We also have an option for online access only, meaning someone who is not able to be with us in person in New York, there's an online access rate for swap card. But if you've registered for the conference, access to swap card is complimentary. I see a question from Karen, and just a thought for the future. We are returning, and we're all excited to return, but we will look at what works well in this new configuration, and if exhibitors enjoy returning to the structure of pipe and drape, but that will be something that we will ask in our survey post-conference. Thank you for that note, Karen. Yes, okay, from Manuel, would you please guide us step by step on the process to register, purchase a booth, and get booth badges in the case of a booth shared by two small agencies? Thank you for that question, Manuel. If you are sharing a booth, that primary booth registrant, again, one person needs to register for the conference before you have access to purchasing a booth. And that primary registrant, the booth will be listed under that organization. And then once you've purchased a booth, you will have the option to purchase booth badges, which you can share with your colleague with whom you're sharing the booth. And they would use that code to then register for the booth badges. But again, the booth would be listed under that primary organization's name in the Expo Hall listing. Okay. So Karen is wondering, is there a live map that indicates which booths are still available in the Expo Hall? And there is not an interactive map at this time in the registration process. But during the registration process, you will see the maps, the PDFs of the maps. And once you select a booth number, you would click on the drop down to see if the booth is still available. If that number is no longer in the drop down list of numbers, that means that booth space is no longer available. I think we've said Mr. Mojo's comments. This is an anonymous question. Will there be Tuesday exhibit hours? And the answer is no. There have not been Tuesday exhibit hours. Generally, we close the Expo Hall on Monday, and our conference ends in the morning on Tuesday. At that point, our exhibitor team starts to load out of the expo hall. So we don't have expo hours on Monday. It does close, excuse me, on Tuesday. It does close on Monday afternoon. Let's see. Mary is a solo artist with an award-winning new show. I'm looking for producers and venues as well as touring management. What steps would you recommend to accomplish these goals through APAP? Krista, are you still with us? You may not be. Okay. Crandall, can I ask for you to share some guidance on that process from your perspective, please? Thank you.
Sure. So if I'm understanding the question correctly, this person is saying that they want to come to APAP to connect with managers, agents, infrastructure for themselves, as well as possibly booking. Does that seem like that's what the question's about?
I think that is what the question is about.
Okay.
No, they're not able to respond. Yes.
So that is an excellent, it is an excellent use of APAP if you're new and you do want to make those connections, and maybe you're an artist who doesn't have an agent or doesn't have a touring manager or that kind of thing, and you want to try to find that through coming to APAP. There are several things that you can do that will that make that process easier for you and make that process more fruitful. I would strongly encourage you, if you are at that point with this market and with starting out, I would strongly encourage you to join NAPAMA, because that is another place where you can do that. But there are ways you can kind of work the APAP event to achieve those things. It's a lot of steps. There's a lot of things to do. I have a lot of hints that I could give you on that and a lot of ways that I could direct you to do that. I'd be happy to talk to you about it outside of this. You can really work that list, the registration list. If you're registered for the conference and you have that registration list, you can really use that in the beginning, kind of going through, really doing your research into the other people that are registered agents, see who they are, make contact with them before the conference, try to set up meetings with them at the conference. There is kind of a whole way of doing it. Again, I would be happy to talk to you personally, whoever asked that question about that. I will put my my email address in the chat, or somebody can I put it in, guys? Yeah. Okay, I'll put my email address in the chat, and you can email me if you would like to be able to talk individually, but there are a lot of things you can do at APAP to make those kind of connections.
Thank you, Crandall. That was very helpful. And Crandall will share her contact information in the chat. And let's see, Mark, for people that are purchasing booths this week, when will a copy of the exhibit hall map vacancies be available? If your booth purchase tier opens tomorrow on Wednesday, you should have received an email yesterday with access to the maps. If you just registered within the last 3 hours, you may not have received it. If you've not received it, please email APAP NYC at apap365.org, and we will adjust that right away. And I believe I may, yeah. Let's see, I did not receive a link to the maps and registered over a month ago. And I'm purchasing a booth tomorrow. Okay, if you can reach out to, again, the APAP NYC at apap365.org email address, we can straighten this out. I believe in some instances, if your tier that you entered during the registration process is not the tier that you believe it to be, meaning if you were in the 25+ tier and through the questionnaire, you put the 10 tier, then you would not have received the email. So if you can reach out to us directly, we can address your individual situation. Let's see. Okay. Can I ask you to email me directly? And after our webinar, we can look this up and get that settled for you. I will top in my email in just a moment. I think we are at the end of questions, and I'm going to ask my colleagues if there's anything you'd like to mention. No? Okay. Yes, I will again pop my email in the chat. I think I've answered that question. Okay. Well, I think this is the end of our Q&A. I want to thank you all for sticking with us through this process. This webinar will be posted to our website, I believe, by tomorrow. And again, you can email us with additional questions. And I believe we did answer the question regarding your booth badges and how to register if you want to share a booth. But I can go through that again. I see it's popped up again. You do need to have a primary registrant purchase the booth, and your booth will be listed under the organization name of the primary registrant. And once you've registered, then you'll receive the code to purchase booth badges, and you can share that with your colleague with whom you're sharing the booth. And on that note, I will turn things back over to Lisa to close us out.
Okay. Nia, thank you. She's like a super girl. JG, thank you. Crandall, thank you. All of the staff, thank you so much. And thank you to everyone for staying with us. I see many of you are still on the line. I hope your questions were answered. If they weren't, or you feel like you have another question, just let us know. We will get to you as soon as we can. If we don't get to you fast enough, it's okay to re-ping us. No shame there. But we take all the questions very seriously, and we want to give you the answers that we can in the most timely fashion that we can. So this is the first of a couple of conversations. I think we have something coming up. Neo, is it first timers coming up?
Well, first timers, more understanding of networking coming up.
Networking coming up, okay. So just look out for that if that applies to you. And if it doesn't, and again, you have other questions, just let us know. We are here working really round the clock as we get to January. So thank you for being here, and I'm wishing you the very, very best. Thank you so much.